And we back with another episode of It's the End of the World. Unless you know who I is, who I be, and who I got with me.
Yes, sir.
Skinny.
The one and only.
And it's me. We don't have no special guest today. It's just going to be us talking our shit. But we getting into classism. Mm-hmm. So we in the first episode, I think, when I was talking about capitalism being sustainable or not sustainable, I kind of broke it down into 4 categories: racism, religion, classism, and sexism. How all 4 of those contribute to capitalism and are basically the fuel to the fire. And so classism is the last category that we have to go over. It's pertaining to that. So basically just going to get into how it's just another tool, or I believe it's just another tool to divide us, because what else is the purpose to dividing people based off of their tax bracket? So, I mean...
All right, so, question. Do you think that, as far as, out of those topics, which, do you think classism, where do you think it ranks
it
as far as,
ranks.
how important is it versus, racism or, sexism? Because I personally feel like sexism is first, just because patriarchy is, a thing. But, also, you don't see that many, rich women. You know what I'm saying? Not I mean, it's rich women, but not to the extent of, males. You know what I'm saying? You know them by name, Oprah, Ellen. You know what I'm saying? With men, it's a bunch of them, you know? So I just wonder, I guess which one of them is more, is the, you know what I'm saying? The bigger one.
I'm gonna be a boring bitch and be I really don't know if I can rank them, because I feel like they all equally contribute. The people that these systems benefit are rich white men. And that touches on every category: racism, sexism, classism, and rich white Christian men.
Right.
So, I mean, it's it's all one machine, and each part plays a very important part into making everything move the way it does.
Right.
But if I had to pick one, absolutely had to, I think classism. That might be the highest. Because if we weren't all divided based off of how much we made, what would be our main
advantage?
Let me think through this for a second. What I feel like the people would be able to unite even easier if we weren't divided by classes. I feel like that is now I'm talking myself out of my answer. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with my original answer. I'm going to stick with my OG answer. They all play a very vital role. And they're all, if you drop one, everything could crumble.
You think so?
Yeah. Which one do you think you could and it wouldn't make that much of a difference if we eradicated it completely?
I would say probably racism. Only because...
Excuse me?
No, real shit, though. Only because I feel like that's the one that I guess depends the least on, actual, I don't know, an actual difference. You know what I'm saying? Skin color and things of that nature, big lips, big nose, all that type of stuff is, developed over time from, our ancestors and, where we lived, you know, years and years ago. So, I feel like racism isn't it's definitely strong, but it's not based in anything I feel like with gender or sexism, you could kind of say okay, that's a woman, that's a man, they do different things. Women have babies, you know, you could put those type of things in a category. But black people and white people, you can't say other than the stereotypes that we come with, you really can't say we have a difference. There's no real scientific, you know what I'm saying, difference. But I feel like even with classism, there's a mental aspect to it. It's like when you have a certain amount of money, you feel better about yourself. Like you literally, it's shown that people who have less money like go through more, mental things. So it's like an actual, I don't know. It's just
because more money, more problems.
I mean, money can't solve like your problems, but
it'd be the richest niggas with the most mental issues.
But that's because they get money from like in negative ways. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are helping people and you really contributing to society and then you make your money off that, like if you run a nonprofit or some shit, it's different than if you like scamming people and like overworking people. Like I think it really comes from just self. Like if you're not secure within yourself.
But I mean, any of these rich niggas that we're actually talking about, did any of them get their money in a morally conscious way?
Probably not. I mean, and that's what I was gonna say. Once you get to a certain amount of money, it shows that you actually decline in mental health. But
it's like damned if you do.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like you have to stay. I think they said if you make over like it shows people like increase until they get up to about like 200K, and then it shows a decline. So I'm guessing that's like the place where it's like, okay, I have enough money to live comfortably and I don't need anything. So it's kind of like you don't feel like that need to, I guess, like that to chase as much. I don't know. I just feel like if racism is gone, they'll just find something else to like separate people on. But I also feel like racism is like the one thing that, not one thing, but it's out of all of them, I would say that's the one that's like, that one's just, I don't know. It just,
I literally can't even picture racism not being in the picture just because of like so I can't even envision what you're trying to explain to me right now, just because it has such an emotional hold on black and white people and non-black and non-white people. And just like the generational trauma that came, I don't know.
I mean, I didn't say we would like be able to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But it was just, I feel like out of
hypothetically,
I just feel like if any of them was to go, I think that would be the easiest to let go of. I don't know.
Child, I feel like, okay, if you're forming the question like that, it might be classism because it's more poor niggas than rich niggas.
Yeah, but...
And if the poor niggas actually get together and realize, yo, even though you make $80K a year, my nigga, you're poor.
Right. But then that's the thing, though. Like, you have to ask yourself where people think they fit in. Because it's like, you might think somebody poor for making, like, you know what I'm saying, 80K. But then somebody with 80K drive past a homeless person, and they like, I'm not poor, they're poor.
I'm hit. If they drive past me, they're going to think that. So, like, yeah, but if... That's the point. You gotta look at the bigger picture. Don't just look at your situation versus 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other people or the people that you know personally.
But isn't that kind of the basis of all types of prejudice? Is only seeing your situation or people around you, or just people that you may not like. If you grow up in an all-white area and they teach you like racism is okay, then it's like you're not gonna know that it's wrong until you're presented with somebody who tells you like it's wrong. I mean, you might feel something, but you don't necessarily know. So it's like, I think it's just I don't know. I just feel like with money it's more obvious a lot of times. I mean, like race is obvious because it's like, yeah, but even with that, you could be like racially ambiguous. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd be white passing, or you could have a black parent but look white as shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That question is a black hole.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is a black hole. Because dead ass, I'm just like, nah. It's like racism is the engine. The fucking classism is the starter. Motherfucking, what do you call it? Religion is the brakes. You know, like they all are an important part. So... all the motherfuckers gotta go before anything can really be talked about. Any like real change can actually be talked about. But classism is going in the opposite direction of that. It's actually like amplifying pretty quickly. Like,
and I guess why I asked that question is because I look at somebody like Kanye West, who says stuff like, like, oh, it's not about like, yeah, I'm black and da da da, but it's not just about me being black. It's also like, it's like a money thing. Like, because I have this much money, like they treat me a certain type of way, yada yada yada. So it's like, I feel like once you get to that type of money, like your skin color still matters, but I feel like once you get to a certain tax bracket, you can
rooms.
you start getting into certain rooms and shit.
Conversations and meet certain people. They still gonna call you a nigger behind closed doors, but
Yeah,
you actually
definitely.
got to like see them with
Right.
your own eyeballs,
Right.
which is not necessarily a privilege that I want. The fuck I'm gonna be doing in those spaces, bruh. And people love to like aspire for financial freedom. It's like, bro, it's a fucking myth.
It really is.
Financial freedom is a myth. What is financial freedom? What does that mean?
Unless you completely off the grid and you just in the woods somewhere with no home, no nothing. Like,
my nigga,
you paying somebody to live where you live at.
Literally, there's no fighting. I don't care how much money you have, my nigga. The people at power, the beings at power, they can turn all this shit off at the blink of a fucking eye. You are not free if you're depending on a system made by some corrupt ass individuals.
Like shit.
Just saying. But back to my main point, classism is getting worse. Like, it's gonna get to a point where every country is gonna be a third world country. Like, you're gonna have like a handful of super ridiculously rich people, and then the rest of the population is just dirt poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the middle class is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. It's definitely a separation. Like, I think, especially from the pandemic, a lot of people said,
Sure.
I don't remember how many billionaires they said, or millionaires and billionaires that came out of the pandemic, but I just think it's funny how it's like on one side you have all these stories about people losing their business and like going poor, like going broke and shit, and like, you know what I'm saying, everything that they invested going into these little like stores and shit, and then they get closed down for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like you have like 120, 150 new millionaires and billionaires, and it's like, how does that work? Like, how do you like, to the amount of money that people made in the pandemic off of like people getting sick and people dying. Like, one thing I never thought about is when, and it's kind of like off topic, but when people have a casket store, like not a casket store, but like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, somewhere you could like buy caskets and shit. Like, when people are dying, like when you move into a certain neighborhood, like you move there knowing people die more. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I move into a hood or somewhere where I know it's a lot of like gun violence or shit like that, like I'm making a profit. Like, I'm coming up because niggas is dying every day type shit.
It's so predatory.
Yeah, and it's just like shit like that is why it's just like you can't survive off of money. Like, money is a tool to get you the things that they keep from you. But in itself, we don't want money. Like, what we really want is like community. What we really want is like opportunities. Like, we want to help one another, but nobody trusts each other. So it's like, I would rather do all this like wake up and grind and all this like can't never sleep. I gotta work 30 hours a day so I can make this money, so I could say that I did it on my own, and and I think that's another part of classism that is really detrimental, especially to, I would say honestly, to the black community most of all, because if you look at every other like race, they kind of like create, I don't know, they I feel like they more so like Asian people, well, I don't want to say that, but they'll move into the neighborhood, set up like a little laundromat, whatever the fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like with black people, it's more like, because we feel like we have to like get it out the mud type shit, it's like we don't like taking handouts, or like what it feels like to take a handout. So you got all these rich white people who pass money down for generations and don't feel no type of way about it, like trust fund babies, and we make fun of that. But at the same time, if we could have trust funds, like, we could like change some shit. Like, it could really change, you know, to the trajectory of a lot of kids that's graduating that don't have an option, that's probably just gonna go to the military. Or,
and that's all fine and dandy, but how?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think it's a matter of black people not being able to take handouts. It's just we generally don't get the offers that often. So when we do, it's like, why. You know, you're gonna be a little sketched out about it.
And that's what I'm saying. It goes back to trust. Like, we don't trust each other. We don't trust. Like, if we at least we don't. That's the difference though. It's like if a white person is out and they see another white person, they gonna be like, okay, like they don't see them as a threat, or you know, or maybe they do, depending on how they look. But I feel like in general, people don't see like their own race as a threat as much as we do.
As much, like, yeah.
Because I feel like we're a lot more like, no, I don't trust niggas. Because back in 1970, I gave somebody some money and they never paid me back, so now I don't get nobody money. Like, we just have that. I feel like we have that kind of mentality of like, I can't take no money from nobody. I gotta like get out the mud. Because even when you hear like our music, a lot of it is like, I ain't never asked for nothing. Like, I was sleeping on the floor and I was sleeping with roaches and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, it's sad. But then when you think about how many, like, quote-unquote successful artists are out and how many just successful, like, black people there are now, like, there shouldn't be this idea of, like, oh, you can't get handouts or you can't, you know, help your community because it looks bad, or, like, you want people to feel like they earn it. Because I hear a lot of, like, especially like a lot of black parents who be like, oh, my kid ain't gonna get all this stuff because they need to learn
how to be without.
And and it's like, but like, isn't the goal to like give them what you didn't have? Like, isn't the goal to like,
which shouldn't even be materialistic things. Right. It should be like the knowledge that you learned later on that you were like, why didn't I learn this in school? Right. Type shit. Like, pass that shit down. Pass down shit that is I don't know, that can't just be thrown away by somebody. Like, it's just, we value all the wrong things and we make ourselves susceptible to this type of manipulation. And it's really fucking frustrating. But on the other hand, you have these super rich white people that do all the things that we wish our people did, well, kind of, so with money. Like, they pass down their money, they pass down like tips and tricks on how to make more money, how to build on the little bit that you started with, and they pass down businesses and all this shit. But with that comes some like personality defects. You know, like that sense of entitlement and just always having access to something. I mean, our parents were onto something. I need you to need for something. I need you to want for something, not just have something at your beck and call. Because, I mean, we see how it plays out all the time with these fucking white adult men that act like children when they don't get their way. And it gets to a point where, because they can get away with so much shit, because one, they're white, and two, they most likely have money to get away with shit, it's costing other people their safety and their lives and their, you know. So
yeah, I mean, when you're born into money, it can make you complacent. Like, it can make you,
and it promotes like detachment and apathy. Like, you're not able or interested in seeing how the other side lives. Like, ooh, child, I done left my job so I could talk about it. There was this motherfucker that was working there, and this bitch is a rich bitch, a rich bitch, and about the same age as me. I'm in my early 20s, and this nigga was like since he was a baby, he was made, he's set, and he's working this $16 an hour job and fake ass humidity for plants, because I worked in a grow, working in like high ass humidity where they're pumping high ass levels of carbon dioxide, doing all that for $16 and kissing ass while subjected to those conditions, and doing it for fun. Like, he doesn't need that job. And then that motherfucker got a promotion because he did have the energy to kiss ass, and then just started power tripping like crazy. That's when you really saw like who the fuck he was. He was holding all that shit back, and then, you know, he got one little coin of validation, and then it was just like off the fucking charts with the power trip. And it's like, I mean, he was having a conversation with another coworker, and they were telling them how they had paid off their car note. And he was like, huh? What's that? What's that? What? You don't just pay for a car in full when you go get one?
Well,
You make monthly payments?
I guess. I mean, unless.
Oh, wow.
I guess.
Okay. Well, congrats, I guess.
Right. Like, I guess.
Like, my nigga, how are you that? You're at the big age of no less than 24, my nigga. How do you not know what a car note is?
You just removed. Like, you don't fit into society.
And then when you hear about the shit, you don't want to hear about it.
Like,
don't tell me anymore.
Poor shit.
Nigga. So it's like, yeah, it'd be cool for generational wealth and shit, but like, I just want our people, black people, to move away from that thinking. Like, stop depending on this fucking money. Stop depending on that. Your knowledge is the greatest wealth that you can obtain, bruh. Stop focusing on passing down these stocks and motherfucking putting your power into other people's hands.
Somebody else's pockets.
It don't make no goddamn sense to me.
When you buying the Walmart and Apple and all that, all you doing is giving them money. Like, they getting money. They getting
and you're making chump change off of that.
And you just hoping that shit flips so you could be like, oh, I
my
did
nigga,
this,
learn how to source your own clean water.
Like shit.
Learn how to generate your own electricity. Learn how to fucking generate your own heat.
If you get stranded on an island, fuck you gonna do with a bunch of money?
Bruh, I was just volunteering on the farm of a mutual friend of ours, and we built a fucking compost pile out of damp hay that literally generates its own heat. You could use it to heat whatever outdoors. And it's a pile of damp hay. My nigga, why don't we know this shit?
Cause we don't.
Why don't we know?
We like you said, like, we focus more on the money and just like, okay, once I got money, I could just buy whatever I want.
This shit's killing me.
But it's like, realistically, what we really need is community. Cause it's like, at the end of the day.
Go ahead. Sorry. Got excited.
At the end of the day, it's like, you're not really looking for the things that you think you're looking for. As far as like material goods, like for instance, like if I got $20 and I'm thirsty, I could go buy some water, like, if you know what I'm saying, if I got that. But if I don't got no money and I ask somebody, hey, bro, you got some water? And he like, yeah, I got an extra water bottle.
I got a whole filter
right,
in here,
I got a whole thing. So it's like,
you
don't necessarily need the money. You just need somebody who will give you the shit or like help you out with what you need. So I think that's really like that's the underlying like solution to everything. Is like, once people as a whole, not even just black people, but once people as a whole realize that there's power in numbers, it's like we could really like turn stuff around. But it's the fact that they've created this society where no one trusts anybody, and it's like, I'ma just get it on my own and worry about me and mine, and everybody else could die slow. And it doesn't work that way, because then you just have a bunch of isolated people who are trying to put everything on their shoulders at once, and that's what leads to things like depression, anxiety, and all types of things like that.
What kills me is that we know that the real strength lies in unity. Look at fucking Louisiana right now. They just got hit with another almost Category 5 hurricane 10 years after the last devastating one that they did not recover from at all. Whatever recovery they made was because of the people. Here they are getting hit again, and I'm seeing all over goddamn Twitter fucking Cajun Navy. My nigga, it's niggas on boats. Niggas who have boats, Louisiana like residents that are going out with their own property and helping people. So we know that the strength lies in numbers and togetherness. It's just we don't really think or, to apply it until it's like life or death, which is annoying.
Pretty much. And I can say I'm guilty of that too. Like, I'm very much like a person that I don't like to ask for help. So it's like,
me neither.
So it's like, I get it. Like, I definitely get it, especially when you reached out a few times and like you feel like you got shit on, or you feel like you didn't get the help that you deserved. I guess it's like it's easy to kind of have this like fuck everybody kind of mentality and just like be like, I'll just figure it out on my own.
But it's so frustrating because we're literally all walking around here struggling. Some of us are much better at faking at it than others, but we're all walking around here needing help, bruh.
Yeah, real shit.
Which is probably why, people weren't able to come through for you in your time of need. Of course, communication is a thing. Like, we're adults. Let's learn to do that. But, like, everybody is going through some shit, bruh. If we could literally all just, like, hold hands and sing Kumbaya, my nigga, like, we could pull each other through. But it has to be, like, people have to see that there's no other way but that in order for them to act on that. And
the sad part is it probably won't happen until, like you said, like it's a life or death situation, or it's like once it gets to the point, and that's what I'm most afraid of, I guess, is that most people won't wake up until like the shit is already like at our front door type shit. Like they gonna wait until.
At our front door,
it is,
and
but
niggas
not.
Joking
it's
about
still
it.
not in our like. It's still like to the point where I could be removed. Like it's not a thing where, like I step outside and it's like
war.
Yeah, like army tanks outside and shit. Like when the Black Lives Matter shit was going on, niggas was real life down DC. Like it was heavy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like police with riot gear, all that type of shit. But that's what brought us together, was like being like fuck them niggas. But it's like it's sad that the only time that, not even just black people, like I said, but like people as a whole, the only time we seem to come together is either when some fuck shit happen, like some really really bad traumatic shit happens, or when we feel like we can selfishly benefit from it.
Exactly.
And
I think that's the thing.
That's shitty.
A lot of us, a lot of our empathies have been like dampened severely, and so we don't really want to put any energy into something when it doesn't directly benefit us.
Like shit. So do you think that humans at our core are not necessarily selfish, but do you think there is a part of us that just like has to feed like that part of us?
Yeah, I do. I've had that question for a long time, and I've had the conversation with multiple people. And after conducting my research, I'm pretty sure humans are just innately selfish and I don't want to say spoiled, but
we definitely spoiled.
Greedy. We're greedy. Spoiled. We're selfish. Selfish is the best umbrella term for everything that we innately are. I think our quote unquote bad characteristics.
I don't think.
I mean, if you look at times before money was a thing, niggas was still killing each other over jealousy over, like, and shit. You know,
resources, shit like
Animals
that.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so
it's human nature, I guess. But I do think that, like, propaganda and, like, you know, society kind of perpetuates it. Definitely. Like, I think that
the 4 categories: classism, religion, racism, and sexism.
I think that we have our own, like, selfish needs and wants because we all have an ego. But I feel like in this society, our ego is like super boosted. So it's like everything you do is you. So it's like if you fail, then people are like, you're a failure. But then when they see you succeed, it's like, oh, I knew you could do it. I believed in you, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's always dependent. Like we're at a point where we don't even try. Like a lot of people don't even try shit anymore because they're afraid to be wrong or get shit wrong.
It's even worse for people in the higher classes, because they aren't given the opportunity to fail. And if they do, we'll just fix it up real quick.
Or we'll just pay to fix it and go about our lives.
No biggie. Shit. No type of accountability.
Like
ever.
Shit.
Ever.
And they say like most families, like middle class, low, whatever, are like one unplanned like emergency away from being broke, like going under type shit. Like we all kind of like scooting by,
living paycheck to paycheck,
you know, like shit. And it's like you could look at that and be like, well, you just gotta do, because I see so many people with that whole like, well, you just gotta do what you gotta do and da 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 da. And it's like, that's cool, and
it don't have to be this way,
but it doesn't have to be this way. And the only reason why
I'm so annoyed
it continues to be this way is because we just have
we allow
this idea of I can just, I don't know, just bear it, like just take it, and this is just, but it's like this shit don't even feel natural. Like if you really like understand this shit, it's like it don't even feel natural to be like sexist, to be racist, to be on any of that shit. Like it doesn't even feel natural. Like it doesn't, it's like you have to force that. You have to like really be dedicated to that type of thinking to even, because it's like to be sexist, that means that every woman you meet, you have to like treat a certain way, or you have to like look at her a certain way. And it's like you can't do that for everybody, because you might meet somebody who might really have the opportunity to change your life, but you'll let like sexism be the reason why you stay down?
But at this point, you're asking a lot from niggas.
I mean, I'm always asking a lot. We come on this podcast every weekend.
You're asking niggas to think for themselves.
That's what we asking for niggas to do every episode.
A huge ask.
Think for yourself.
Huge ask. Huge ask. So it's like people have got. I'm saying that to say people have gotten very comfortable sitting in the passenger seat and just letting other people guide their lives and their thoughts and their ideologies and all that. They're like afraid to be against the status quo a little bit, you know, and actually question shit.
You can see it with the vaccine shit, like how people will go from. I want to
have a whole episode on that.
Yeah, we should.
Dead ass, like a debate.
But like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so it's like you have people who will come on Twitter or whatever and be like, I feel like if you don't get the vaccine, you shouldn't be able to work or nothing. Da 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 da. But it's like people have genuine fears and concerns about this shit. Like fuck all the Facebook, you know, fake shit. I'm talking like people really have like this country has a history of doing fucked up shit to people in the name of science. And I think that the problem is you have a lot of people who will just blindly read some shit from the CDC and then regurgitate that shit on Twitter or wherever and then be like, oh, well, everybody else believes it, so it got to be true.
This dude was trying to get into a not really an argument, but like just a little smidge back and forth on Twitter the other day because I tweeted, I want this whole vaccinated versus unvaccinated back and forth to fucking end. Like, It's annoying. No one's better or smarter than anyone else for getting it or for not getting it. Right. Like, just let people fucking live and continue. Bruh, continue taking your preventative measures, my nigga. If you're really that afraid, go back to quarantine.
Right. Go stay in your house. Work from home. Do something else.
It's just like, I understand reasons why I understand why some people get vaccinated and I understand why some people don't get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. There's valid reasons on both sides and there's also both sides doing wrong. Right. Like, if you're unvaccinated, my nigga, you should be wearing a mask. Like if you are vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask. All of y'all are out here spreading the shit and just pointing the finger at one another. Shut the fuck up. But we'll save that for the next episode. Anyway, okay, wait. I remember where I was going with that though. He was basically like, oh, it sounds like you're an anti-vaxxer. Like you're trying to promote not getting the vaccine. And I'm like, bruh, I literally said the opposite. Like,
you definitely said like you don't care. Like, either way. But you know, people just want to take your, and that's the thing. It's like
it's so irritating.
He not no scientist. He don't work at the CDC.
None of these niggas are. Niggas are like niggas are finding videos on TikTok made by random people, and they sound like they make sense, and they're like, see, shut up.
Like y'all niggas are not that smart.
If that's good for you, then awesome. Go get your vaccine, bitch. If it's not, don't get your vaccine. But still be considerate of other people. That's all. Like it's not like I don't believe in COVID. It's not like I don't believe. You know, it's just like.
It's just like it goes back to
you have power over your own body autonomy. Like it's like just let people do what the fuck they need to do, and you do what you need to do. Stop worrying about the next person.
But that goes back to like
irritating
society and shit. Like we just even with classism, it's like you only want the money you want because you see somebody else with that. You know, like we all look at Jeff Bezos, like oh he got this and da da da, and then you see him doing shit like making rockets and flying to space and shit like that, and everybody like. And we looking at it like, okay, but he could use this money to like do a lot of other things. Like his ex-wife, she been donating ever since they got divorced, and she got her half or whatever. She been giving all that shit away. Like if you follow her shit, she gives all that.
That's
shit
probably
away.
Why they got divorced.
Probably like real shit. So it's like, but you have all these people like arguing on the behalf of Jeff Bezos as if he needs that, and being like, oh, well, he earned it. So let's
go even smaller because most of the time niggas aren't gonna attain like the amount of wealth you need to build rockets and go to space and shit like Elon and Bezos. But what niggas are trying to build money up for is these fancy ass trips and these fancy ass designer brands. And like with these designer brands, my nigga, literally no one would care if no one wore them.
No one wore it. You could buy a t-shirt.
Y'all telling me that y'all think all this shit actually looks good?
It don't.
Like y'all are so annoying. It's fashion. Shut the fuck up, bro. Even if it ain't like, all right, I'm all for these like eccentric, like super unique pieces, my nigga, but like
they be ugly as shit.
On you. Like there's certain things for your skin color, for your body type, you know, like it's like all that type of shit, the size of the length of your fucking neck and shit, like bruh, y'all can't just anyway taking on like other people's like everyone just taking on each other's aspirations and goals and not figuring out what it is that you want. Like you are annoying.
Just seeing what everybody else has and saying,
"Ooh, grow up."
And it's like, bro, you a grown ass man.
It's literally like high school.
Why are you watching Lil Durk videos? Like, man, I wish I had that car. I wish I did it. Like, bro, you a grown ass man, bro.
Classism is like the high school cafeteria.
It really life in itself
is literally
like
a high school cafeteria.
Like, it really is just a big ass high school. Because like when you think about it, you graduate. And then you like do whatever you're gonna do, and you click up with whoever you click up with, and then it's like that's it. Like that's your clique, that's who you with, that's what you represent until you gain some type of knowledge, and then you move on and start fucking with somebody else. But realistically, like adulthood is just a big ass high school. Like everybody just clicks up, and they only gonna support the people that they fuck with, and we all judge each other based on what we wearing and how we sound and what this is like and what that is like. Like you can't even. Like I said before, you can't even try shit no more. Because it's like you try some new shit or try to do some shit and everybody going to be like, why you do that? That was stupid. Like, da-da-da. Why you, that's why you failed. But then you turn around and like a year later, you doing some shit and now everybody like, yo, I wish I could do that. But it's like, but you was just telling a nigga not to try. So it's like, how you gonna go from don't try nothing new and you got people who, and even in kids, like, you'll give a kid some food and they'll just look at it and be like, nah, I don't want that because it look nasty. But it's like we don't even try anything different. We just go with the same status quo, and because it's comfortable. Like it's comfortable to be.
It's been approved by society for you.
It's comfortable. Like if you're in the majority, then you just. If I could wake up every morning and at 6:00 and go to this job that I hate because it pays me, the money that I think I need. And then come home miserable and sad and shit because you've been working at this job that you hate for 5-6 years. And then when somebody like, all right, well, just quit, do something else. Do what you really want to do. Oh, well, I can't do that because I got this and I got that. Da-da-da-da. But then
stay miserable.
Right, then you're going to just be miserable and then you end up killing yourself or some shit.
Bruh.
And everybody looking like, oh, I can't understand why he had such a good job and he had this going. It's like because people aren't happy. Like, money can't make you happy. It can buy you shit that makes you happy temporarily, but everything that you use and everything that you have is a temporary, like, it's really what it is instant gratification. Because if you think about it, if I go to an amusement park, I'm paying so that I could get on these roller coasters and feel the adrenaline without actually having to go do something. As soon
as you get off, it's like, all right, what's next?
Right, what's the next one?
Gotta jump to the next thing.
Right, you're not even infatuated.
Waiting a 30-minute long line, my nigga,
so
for a
5-minute ride. Right, and then just to get off the ride and be like, okay, next ride. And it's like you're not even focused on the fun that you had or the experience you had on the first roller coaster, because even at the end of the first roller coaster, you looking at the next one from the roller coaster you on, like we gotta get on that one next.
Right,
you on the roller coaster, but you looking at the next roller coaster, and it's like that's like how we are as people. Like we're always. I heard this like parable.
Searching for the next thing.
Yeah, for the next thing. I heard this
Never
parable
just being.
Where it's like you climb a mountain and then you get to the top of the mountain and then you'll see a bigger mountain next to this mountain from the peak. And before you can even like enjoy the fact that you've climbed this mountain, you already like, okay, I gotta climb that mountain next.
Yeah.
And it's like we don't give ourselves a chance to really like be happy, like to really like fall in love with moments instead of just being like, okay, I got this, now I gotta get that. I got this, I got a new car, now I gotta get 2 new cars. I got this house, but I want a bigger house. I got this thing, but now I want a bigger thing. And it's like, for what though? Because you always chasing the dragon. Like you always just gonna be chasing.
It's this quote in one of my favorite songs. I don't know it exactly, but the whole idea is, you went through life looking like waiting to get to the final destination. But you finally get there and it's like, haha, joke's on you. You missed the whole adventure. You were supposed to be singing and dancing the whole way along, but you finally got here and now it's like, well.
Right, I made it. Now what?
Now what?
Now what? And I know so many people probably be on their deathbed thinking about, all the money they made and all the things that they did, and then probably think like, damn, I wish I would have just did that simple thing. Like I wish I would have, visited my grandmother more. I wish I would have like did this more. I wish I would have put more time into learning like
my
the
true
guitar
love
or
before
something.
that career. Yeah.
And it's like you get to 80 years old and now you just all you can do is tell people like, don't do this, don't do that. But it's like you only tell them that because you regret this shit. Like you regret spending so much time grinding and I gotta get this, I gotta get that, and next thing you know, you look up and you 50 years old, and it's like you done missed your whole life, all these experiences because you were so focused on the money you had to make and the job that you work at that you don't even understand like what happiness really means outside of buying things.
And like this whole the grind don't stop culture.
That shit annoying
Please
as fuck.
cut it out.
That shit annoying as fuck.
Please cut it out, babe.
That
like,
shit annoying
listen,
as fuck.
from me to you, like, because I love you and I care about you, cut the shit.
Like shit.
What are you grinding for?
So you can.
What are you grinding towards?
So you can pay bills and then you can splurge a little bit, buy you some Uber Eats. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some shoes,
my nigga.
a little outfit. You know what I'm saying? Take you a little trip once out of the 52 weeks of your life.
Literally, always be in debt.
Always.
That is how our money system is still alive.
Yeah.
It feeds off of us.
Yeah.
We feed it. It feeds off of us. And stop grinding, babe.
Just stop.
Please
Or
stop.
don't even. I would say live your life like for the purpose of just living. Like don't make it this goal of like this quest of like I have some divine thing that I have to do before I'm gone, and if I don't then I'm a failure. Like just live your life. Like some days you need to rest. Like we need rest. Like that's part of our anatomy. Like you can't, if we didn't need rest, we wouldn't sleep. Like you need to sleep.
Like those rainy Sunday mornings where you're just like playing music and drinking tea before you clean the house.
Like
that's
shit.
like, that's life. That's happiness.
Yeah.
Those like the day you went on a hike and saw some beautiful ass shit. That's life. Like that's what you should be grinding towards. Those little moments. Stop. I feel like I'm like stop this, stop that, stop this, stop that. I just want people to like
really
be
cherish,
happy, feel better.
Like cherish life, man. Don't make it about like money and grinding and I gotta get this, I gotta have that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It's like life is so much bigger than that. Like when you just see how simple, like when you see people who don't have a lot and they can still be happy with the small things that they do have, like that's life. Like that's real. And that's not to say you should aspire to be like poor or nothing like that. I mean,
low key
like,
though.
I mean, but at the same time, like it's like when you are at a point where money isn't really like a thing, like you start to learn a lot more. Like you learn so much more.
So much.
When you can just look at life from like a perspective of like just humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Because my nigga, how else would you learn that you could heat things from damp hay?
Like shit.
Your ass would have just went out and bought a heater.
Mm-hmm.
No, all you gotta do is go outside and look for shit. There's food. There's resources everywhere
Like
that
shit.
we just have no idea how to tap into them.
Like most of the planet is water, but yet we pay for water.
Like, babe, the world is your oyster. It really is your oyster if you just realize that.
But see, and that goes to people not. I think we had this conversation like the other day. We were saying like people don't understand how great they are. Like they would
your
rather
power. Realize
sit
your power.
and be like, oh, well, I'm not good enough to change anything, or I can't do anything on my own. So I'd rather just do what they tell me to do or follow, the status quo because that's easier. It's more comfortable, and that's one of the things we always look for is comfort. But the thing about comfort is that when you comfortable for too long, it leaves you complacent. Like you,
but niggas not even comfortable.
they fake comfortable.
Niggas broke.
They broke and fake comfortable.
Nigga, you not comfortable.
But the real
fuck?
shit is, it's like if you give a nigga some
Even if-
food,
even
you give a
if you're
nigga
not
some
broke.
food, you give a nigga a car, somewhere to stay at, some weed, some pussy. Most niggas gonna be like, all right, I don't need to strive for more. Like I'm cool. Like I got me a little situation. I got my little job, my little. You know what I'm saying? Whatever amount. And I'm just
not
cool.
looking at the bigger picture, man. It's not looking at the bigger picture. Like, what happened where all of Texas lost power? It was like a snowstorm in the middle of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that was one of the many instances that I realized during quarantine, like, they really have us, like in their
up.
fingertips, bruh.
Fucked up.
Like
all it takes is a snowstorm and they was
just like,
all it takes is a snowstorm and everybody just fucked up.
And what y'all are grinding for, this money, the aspirations to have like the social status and the wealth,
the look.
You're feeding into the machine.
Because look at the people in Louisiana, like they probably spent all types of money to buy the houses that they have, to buy the things that they have, and all of it gone off of just one natural disaster that nobody could control. Like all that shit gone. It's like, now what? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to rebuild all that shit from the ground up, and it's like that in itself should tell you like this materialistic shit is not going to do nothing for you, because like when you die, it's just you. It's not, you're not bringing nothing with you. You don't get to take nothing. Like all that shit just gonna be here.
And I feel really bad for the farmers that were in the places in Louisiana that got hit really bad, and like all their shit got wiped out. But you know what they have that most other niggas don't? That suffered from it? The knowledge to rebuild. Most people now are waiting for people to rescue them, are waiting for people to bring them food, bring them water. These farmer niggas know, they know how to get that shit done.
Like shit.
All they need is some seeds. You know how many seeds there? It's so easy to find shit. You just gotta know how to utilize it.
Like shit.
And that's where your wealth lies. I think that's the only way we can
that's true
rid of classism is shift your values, shift your aspirations a little bit. Like
think outside of money. Don't think about what you need. Like don't think about I need money. Think about what you
happy without money.
What do you actually need? Like past the materialistic shit, past the like all that. What do you actually need? Like, because you might think I need a car, I need a house, I need that. Like, and those things like you need food, shelter. Those things come with. But it's like we don't need Uber Eats. We don't need buying wings and fries every day. We don't need buying the new Benz just because it's new. Like we don't. We genuinely don't. And it's like when you make it about those things, you forget why you actually bought the thing. So it's like you're not buying that Benz or that thing because a car is like a Benz is an essential need. Like you're gonna die if you don't get a Benz. You buying it for the status of it. So it's like, but what you really want is acceptance. But we don't see it as that. We don't see it as that because we're like, oh, well, I get this thing and it makes me feel good. And we'll say, oh, it's not about other people. But it's like, it is, though. Because if it wasn't about other people, you wouldn't care about the name on that car. You would just get a car to get you from A to B. But because it's a Benz and it looks like this and it's luxury and it presents a certain status, it makes you feel like you're a little bit better than who you were. It makes you feel like, but all those things go back to like simple things that don't revolve around materialistic things. Like you want, like I said, you want acceptance, you want happiness, you want freedom, you want peace, you want compassion, you want those type of things. But you use money to try to procure them because you don't know any other way. So it's like if I can't make money, or if I don't have the money to buy, or if I don't have friends that can help me feel better about myself, then I could just buy some shit and post it on Twitter or Instagram, and people will be like, oh, congratulations, man. And then I could feel better about myself, like I did something. And it's like, but you didn't buy that shit for yourself. You bought it so people could look at you and be like, you're accepted.
But I feel like admitting to that, like getting down to the real juicy shit, the raw meat, what's under the bins, what's under the house, what's under the wanting kids, that takes a certain level of vulnerability that most people are not willing to show. And that goes back to the whole what we were saying earlier, how we don't feel comfortable like asking each other for help when literally all of us need the help.
Right.
Like we all are holding so much shit inside, and the fact that we are society has made it so that we feel like we can't be vulnerable. So I don't blame anybody for feeling like that, but we got to break out of that shit, because that's the only way that we're gonna make any changes happen is if we like help each other. Right. It's the only way.
We gotta be vulnerable, because it's like, that's the thing that, if anything, that's the thing that draws us to one another. Like, when you meet somebody and they're very like surface level, it kind of creates a distance. Like, you just like when they just come off like kind of perfect, or they come off like nothing really bothers them. You kind of look at them like they don't really have that much substance or anything. Like, it comes off very kind of performancy. But it's like when somebody could come to you and be like, yeah, man, I'm having a tough time right now. You know, I'm going through this and da-da-da-da and boo-boo-boo. Like, it connects you to people, because you're like, I've been through shit too, so I can connect with that. And I'm not saying to create trauma bonds with people, but, like, really check on people, because it's like you really don't know who's going through what. And there's so many stories I see where people be like, if one person would have gave me a hug or some shit, like, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have tried to kill myself or some shit like that. And it's like, that's the type of shit we should be focusing on, like, not trying to chase money, because it's like you chasing this money but you ignoring your kids.
But I feel like I struggle with that whole like when meeting new people, not putting on this facade, like, I'm a tough ass bitch, I don't
but
really
like,
need nobody. I don't know. All right, let me see, let me try to unlock it. Do
you feel like in your life you've had to be that person?
I'm sure it is some way, shape, or form. It correlates with like the level of insecurities that I've had my whole life, and not wanting people to see that, so I try to show the opposite. That's about as deep as I could go with that right now, though.
No, I feel that.
Yeah, so that's something I've been trying to be more mindful of, like, just realizing that we are literally all basic ass people. Literally everybody. Nobody is no more special than the next person, and we all have our shit that we deal with.
Like shit.
Like I said earlier, some of us are better at hiding it than others, but we all have our shit. So feeling like you need to put on this facade of being like the baddest bitch at all times, don't need nobody, you know, it's doing yourself and other people a disservice. Just be real. Yeah, that's all. And that's kind of what I have to remind myself when meeting new people. I just don't like I don't like making myself susceptible to other people.
Because I mean, that's basically what you're doing. Like, when you're vulnerable, you put yourself at people's mercy. Because it's like,
if some people don't deserve that shit.
You tell somebody some shit. If you talking about that, like, you could tell somebody some shit like in confidence, and then they go tell everybody else, and now it's like you feel like, you know, why should I tell people? Yeah, like, why should I tell people shit? But it's like, you can't. I guess for me, I've realized that you have to treat every single experience like a new experience. Like, every single person is a new person. And even though we might see a lot of similarities between people, or we might already have some type of, like, preconceived, I guess, feeling towards people, but I feel like you kind of got to, like, I don't know, give people that room. But at the same time, trust yourself.
And if you feel like you're at a place where you cannot do that, treat new people as new people, then you should probably spend some time with yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of passing that trauma on to other people.
Yeah, because that's all it really is. Like, when you break down, like, the human, like, the mental of it, of a lot of things, it's very simple. Like, it's like, when it comes to that type of shit, it's like you've been hurt before. Like, something happened in your life that traumatized you to the point where now your brain is, like, protecting you. It's trying to, everything that we think as far as, like, mental illness and, you know, depression, anxiety, things of that nature, it all comes from a sense of, like, your brain is trying to protect you. So it's like it's trying to, whatever happened in the past is trying to prevent it from happening again. But the issue is that our brains are over, like, powered. So it's like you might think something enough and now your brain just goes into, like, autopilot, and then you just start doing shit, and that's where triggers and things.
And it's like, ho.
Yeah,
You done
like,
jump like 2-3 steps,
Mhm.
bruh. You ain't even clarify the first step before basing your second step off the first step.
like shit. And now you just hating people and you don't even know why. But then you
Right.
try to be like, well, it's because people don't do this and people are fake.
Right.
Like, I had a fake argument with this dude because he was just like, you can't expect, like, decency from nobody. Like, you got to understand that nobody owes you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody owes you friendship. Nobody owes you a kind heart. Like, nobody owes you none of that, which is true. But at the same time, it's like when you have that mentality, it's usually because you've been hurt enough where you feel like, okay, I have to like numb myself in order to keep myself from getting hurt by people because I've opened myself up to enough people where they've shown me like, even though I'm a loving type of person, they don't have to be. And I feel like once you kind of develop that, your brain just, like I said, goes in autopilot and it's kind of just like, don't trust this person, don't trust these people because remember that one time like this happened, But it really just goes back to like we have to unlearn all this like vengeful negative shit that we've gone through, not just like in our lifetime but just for generations. Like there's always been that feeling of like hating on the next person or feeling sorry for yourself because you don't have what this person has, or it's all of that. But it's like there could be a world where we all share everything and it doesn't have to be this thing of competition. Like obviously competition is a thing, like it's in us, but why are we not competing to do good things? Like why compete to hoard resources and have billions of dollars when it's like we could be competing on who can save the most homeless people, who can feed the most people, who can get the most people houses, like
who can win world hunger first?
Yeah, like who could solve world hunger first instead
yeah.
of trying to go to space and shit.
Yeah.
Like fix the problems that's going on here. Like compete for that type of shit. Like, and that's all it is, switching the mindset. And once you see yourself first as an individual, because you have to be with yourself and understand yourself and know that, I guess, like to let go of like your identity and to just be and just exist. And then you have to go out and like show people, like not necessarily like you're not like forced to show people, like you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but by living who you are and being who you are, you naturally show people. Like it goes back to being vulnerable. Like if you go around and you are vulnerable, people, they'll start being like, damn, like he really just told me that shit. Like that shit made me feel better because I was going through some shit like that. And it's like when you have more of those type of experiences, it makes it closes the gap between people and really shows like that we're more than just individual humans, like stupid individual humans.
And I think one of the last main points I want to push is to stop depending on these rich folk.
Like shit.
These people in power, these people that already have what we consider everything, or what y'all consider everything. Like,
and stop looking at them like the monolith. Like,
yeah.
I saw so many people, not to go back to the vaccine shit, but I saw so many people that was like, oh, the vaccine can be bad if all these rich white people getting it. What the fuck does that mean?
All
like,
right.
like they won't get some other shit and call it the vaccine.
All right.
Like, y'all niggas, we gotta stop looking at them as like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to do what they do.
You have the power, bitch.
You could be so much better than
you
who they
have
are.
the power. And you know who has an even greater power? Everybody together. I want people to start thinking for you and your community instead of just for you.
Start there, like start there. Just start with the people around you.
We'll change the world so much faster. I swear to God. I know we will. If we just create these little pockets wherever we are of people that
really
give genuine fucks and are out there like being about it, not talking about it and being about it. And like Skinny said, I mean, if you just move the way you move, people are gonna naturally be attracted to that. So,
and there's gonna be a lot of people on the opposite side that's gonna tell you stupid for trying and that, you know, you should just give up and just be like them and just, but you can't.
It's niggas out here doing this shit, bruh. It's niggas out here that
it's possible
that had no money for land and now has land and is maintaining that shit and is like getting other niggas on that land and like building that shit up and giving back out to the community. It is possible. I've seen it with my own eyes, bruh.
It's hard work. But it's possible.
And it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Just working in a mutually beneficial relationship with nature, like being able to give back, and she gives so much more because we are giving back. Oh my God.
Get back to nature, man.
Oh my God.
That's
But
what-
yeah, that's the main thing that I wanted to push. Did you have anything else you wanted to?
I would just say, read a book. You know, I always gotta say that.
Hello.
And just don't put your put your self-worth in your money.
Yeah.
Because that's a very quick decline. Like in mental health and physical health. Like don't put money before yourself. Like,
What are you doing for people while doing for yourself?
Like shit.
Hello and goodbye. All right, y'all. Facebook group. Please join that shit. I done kind of fell off on updating it, but if people like start talking on there, I would love that. Absolutely love that. And you can like suggest new topics and shit to talk about. But
niggas
yeah,
be rapping, you know.
I'm hip. It'll just be me, you, and maybe somebody else. Like, I know it's more than us niggas in the world. Goddamn.
Like shit.
I see the listeners. Come on now. I know y'all got some shit to say. But yeah. Until next time, y'all.
Yeet.